Hi, everybody. You're back. I am back as well. Today is the 35th episode of HSP TV, and today I'm going to talk to you about my greatest fear. I am guessing that my greatest fear could also be your greatest fear because I see the same type of fear in many of the people that I have the privilege of guiding to become the best version of themselves. And it was also a question of one of my followers, and his question was, what is the biggest fear? Hi, Joost, nice of you to join. What is the biggest fear that you had to overcome in both your life and in your business? Hi, Inlijke Lijs, nice of you to join. And hi, Noam, nice of you to join as well. So that is what I want to talk to you about today. And if you're joining me live, like Joost and Inlijke Reis and Nome are doing, wave at me, type in your name. I'll give you a shout out because I always like and love to connect with the people that are actually present here for my live shows. And if you are watching this in the replay, then please type in hashtag replay so that I know that you are watching this in the replay. So the question, what is your biggest fear that you had to overcome in both your life and your business? This is actually a really good question. So thank you for asking this question. And if you are watching this either live or in a replay and you think I also have a question that I would like to ask you, you can ask me live here in the broadcast, or you can email it to me at info@beingbalance.com, and I'll be happy to answer your question in next week's episode. But today I'm going to talk about my greatest fear. And when growing up, I distinctly remember my greatest fear was the fear of being alone, of staying alone, of being alone, of having to do everything myself, of the fear of not being accepted, the fear of not having any friends, the fear that people would laugh at me, the fear that people would ridicule me. Basically that I would end up all alone, that people would not like me, and that I would be rejected for being who I am. That was my biggest fear. And as a child, it resulted in me having a really tough time being alone. If my mom's watching, she can agree that this was a big issue with me. I could not really be alone. I didn't know how to entertain myself. That was part of it, but it was also that I think now that I'm adult, I know that we as highly sensitive people, we value our contact with other people very much. We are people pleasers. We like to be accepted. We like to be invited in. We like people to do nice things with us. Ineke Reis tells me I can relate to it. Awesome, girl. Thank you for your support. I think this is actually a fear for a lot of us highly sensitive people, and I've found out that the root of this fear is based on several different things actually, and a very important part in it is that only 20% of the world's population is highly sensitive. So this means that 80% of the world is not highly sensitive. And when you hear this, you think, well, okay. But what it actually means is that 4 out of the 5 people that you meet are not like you. They don't think like you, they don't act like you, they don't feel like you, they don't have the same morals, they don't have the same values. And I remember as a child that made me feel different. It made me feel like there was something wrong with me, like I was maybe weird or strange. And that made me try even harder to fit in, to be accepted by the people around me, to try even harder to be someone who in fact I was not, but just to gain their trust or their friendship or their attention. Because I had this fear of not being able to be alone. And this is what I see for a lot of people. And it's a bit inherent in the way that our society works nowadays, because the 4 out of the 5 people, they think mostly about themselves. Yeah, indeed, like your family. Um, I don't think you are the only one that's highly sensitive because it is hereditary. So it means that you either got it from your mother or your father, but sometimes our parents have difficulty in expressing their highly sensitive nature. My mother also has this problem, or had this problem, because she's doing much better now. But they have been taught, though, to be like everybody else. That when I told my mother that I discovered that I am highly sensitive and what it meant for me, and the whole world opening up and all the insights that I was getting, her first response to me was, "Yes, child, I know I am the same, but that's not something to be proud of." And that was something, uh, adopted. Then, okay, then your adopted parents might both not be highly sensitive. Yes, indeed. But your biological parents, one or both, should have been or still are, depending if they're still alive. But um, um, my mom, she had learned from my grandmother, from her mother, that it was best to fit in, to not be the one sticking out, the one to be different, that it was easier in life. Useful promo, nice of you to join. That it is easier in life when you are just like everybody else. And that is a message that a lot of us sensitive people get, either from our parents, our grandparents, or from other people that are important in our life. We get the message that we should try to be just like everybody else, because then life would be easier. And that is what my grandmother told my mother, and that is what my mother taught me. But I have found out that that's not true. You don't have an easier life when you are not who you really are. You don't have an easier life when you try to be somebody that you're not. When you constantly try to please other people, to be the person that you think they expect from you, or maybe that they tell you that they expect you to be, then you are constantly living a lie. And us being so sensitive of nature, that starts to put a strain on us. It causes so much internal stress. And maybe in the beginning, we are not even aware that this is happening. I know I didn't used to feel or know that this was happening. I only knew that I was not, I was not happy. I was not feeling positive, or accepted, and I didn't really know where that was coming from. But now I know that that is because I was not being myself. I was forcing myself to be somebody that I'm not. I was forcing myself to take action and do stuff that I thought other people wanted me to do. And a good example of this is when people ask you, "Hey, do you want to come out tonight? Do you want to go have a drink, or go dancing or something?" And you are actually feeling really, really tired and drained because you had a big day at work, or a lot of meetings, or whatever the reason is for you feeling drained. You are feeling drained, and you would actually like to say no, because you don't have any energy. You just want to curl up on the couch, maybe watch something on TV or read a good book, and go to bed early. But we usually don't say this because we think if we say that we are tired, people will judge us. People will think bad things about us, and people will stop asking us to come out with them, and that will make us lonely or alone. And we also have this, I think, misguided notion that being alone is something horrible, something undesirable. And I know, because I used to think this as well. But learning to be alone and to really enjoy your company, I cannot stress how important and how liberating it is to just being able to trust in yourself, to know that I am enough. You are enough. You don't need other people. And if you are truly honest, wouldn't you rather have people in your life that accept you for who you really are, and that want you to tell them, "I'm sorry, babe, but I'm tired tonight, and I want to go to bed early, but please ask me next time. And if I feel up to it, I would gladly come with you into the city." Wouldn't you rather have people surrounding you that accepted you for who you really are, than forcing you to be somebody who you are not. I see this also a lot with the highly sensitive men. And the men culture is typically seen as being a strong man, liking cars, drinking beers, talking about women, those types of things. And what I hear from all the sensitive men that have come into my practice is that they are not like that. Those are not their interests, but they feel like they have to keep up appearances just to be accepted in the work environment, to connect with their male colleagues. And it also causes them a lot of stress because they are not that person. I have a couple of questions that I would like to answer. Your Innerlijke Reis told me that she has that experience in the past, that setting boundaries is so important. Yes, exactly. It is really important to set boundaries, but it is more important to feel that you are able to do them, that people accept you for setting those boundaries, that they accept that you are different. Is what I always tell my clients. You don't have to understand why I don't want to go out or what my motivation is for certain choices. I just want you to accept it. I accept you for the person that you are, so please accept me for the person that I am too. And this makes it much easier to set your boundaries, to protect your boundaries. And it's all to do also with getting to know yourself really good. And that is my mission here. My mission is to help highly sensitive people to love and accept themselves unconditionally so that they can be the best version of themselves without feeling guilty, without feeling egoistic, and just being happy and shining. So awesome. And Noam is asking me, when did you find out that you are an HSP? And he also says that it is true for him as a male person. Thanks, Noam, for sharing that and for confirming that, and for asking your questions. I found out that I am a highly sensitive person, I think now about 10 years ago, and it was sort of by accident. I was working on a project and I was supposed to be the project manager. I did all the pre-work, talking with the customers, the presentations, so we got them to sign as clients, the whole shebang. And then it became Christmas, and New Year's Day we were supposed to start with the project. And on the second day of January, when we started working again, we were all called into this big meeting, and with everybody present, they started handing out the project roles, and I suddenly was a front-end developer and somebody else had became the project manager. And I felt hurt, not because of the action, because if they had their reasons, they had their reasons, but for not telling me, for letting me do all the job, all the work, and all the contact with the clients, getting the clients there, and not being able to see it through. So I went to my manager to talk about this, why they hadn't told me this in advance. I thought it would have been a normal courtesy to just pull me aside before the meeting and just tell me, I know you were supposed to be the project manager, but things have changed, and right now we cannot offer you this for different reasons that I cannot go into. Then at least I wouldn't have been so surprised, but not in a good way, by this news. And well, they didn't. So I went to talk to him about it, and I ended up talking with my boss, the director of the company, and during that conversation, he said, "Yeah, well, but you are an HSP because my wife is one, and you are so much like her that I'm pretty sure you are one too. And the guy that is now the project manager, he is autistic." And I expect you to make this entire situation work. And I was like, okay, are you calling me a name? Or I parked his remark because I couldn't do anything with the abbreviation HSP. I didn't know what it meant. If he had said you are a highly sensitive person, then at least it would have meant something, but he didn't. He said you are an HSP, and I parked it. I went on with the rest of the things that I wanted to discuss with him, but in the back of my mind it kept playing that remark, the HSP. So I decided to Google it and to find out what it is. Was he actually calling me a name, or what was it? And I think it's one of the best moments in my life, because I started reading about high sensitivity and what high sensitivity was, and it opened up a big part in me that previously had been closed, that I didn't know anything about. And the more I read, the more I saw, the more I understood myself, and it really felt like I was coming home to myself. I was coming home to my true nature, and hungry. I read every book I could find. I scoured the internet for fora and read stories, and I came into contact with other highly sensitive people, and in reading their stories, there was so much recognition there. There was so much that I either thought that, oh, I could have experienced this. I haven't, but I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you're going through, and it could have been me. Hi, Ella, nice of you to join. Or I thought, this happened to me, exactly like this. And it was so liberating to know that I was not weird, that I was not strange, and that I was not alone. This was one of the things that helped me overcome this fear of being alone, because now I know I am not alone. I am not weird. I am not strange. There's nothing wrong with me. I am a highly sensitive person. And the more you get to know what that entails and what it means for you exactly, the more you start to love and accept yourself without conditions. And then you free yourself up to become the best version of yourself, and to really start enjoying your life. And that is what I want for you, my viewers, my followers, the people that I coach. I want you to experience the freedom, the liberation it is to not be afraid of who you are, to not be ashamed of who you are, because that's also what I see a lot in my practice, that people are ashamed, that it's still in the closet. People tell me, because of you, your movies, I have come out of the closet, and now I am strong enough to admit that I am a highly sensitive person. And although I am grateful for people coming out, it saddens me that they have to feel that they need to come out, that it's not socially accepted. Glad to share it with you. No, you're welcome. So that is how I found out that I am a highly sensitive person. And the second part of this question was not only what are you afraid for in your life, but what was your biggest fear in your company? And it actually had to do with this subject as well. My biggest fear in my company was that people wouldn't like what I am putting out there, that people wouldn't come to these live broadcasts, that they wouldn't interact with me, that I would just talk to my screen and feeling sad and miserable, and that nobody would respond to my articles, that nobody would like them or comment to them. And I see this still being a problem, I think, because of the shame that a lot of people feel. A lot of people don't dare say on a public platform as LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram that they are highly sensitive, because they are still afraid of judgment, of what other people might think, what other people might say. But that was my biggest fear, that people wouldn't come, that I wouldn't have any clients. And with that came the fear of losing everything. The fear of losing everything that I worked so hard for, of losing my big dream, of losing the one thing that makes me truly happy to the deepest part of my core. And that is this, what I am doing now. It is my company. It is being able to help people like you are that are watching here today, and seeing you grow, seeing you evolve, seeing you become the best version that you can be, and seeing you being proud of who you are, because that is how I overcame these fears. I learned everything I could find about high sensitivity, about who I am, about what it means for me specifically, also what the difference are. Hi Edwin, nice of you to join, and hi Empowerment, your energy. Nice of you to join as well. Um, I learned I learned to be proud of myself. I learned that I'm an awesome person. I learned that I have this deep inner strength that I should be really proud of. And I know that I have been put on this earth to help other people, to help other highly sensitive people emerge like a butterfly emerges from its cocoon, and to be happy, to feel at ease with who they are, and to teach them everything about themselves, their strengths, their weaknesses, how to unleash their awesome into the world, how to handle their perfectionism, how to transform their limiting beliefs, how to get the mindset they need to be able to fly, to feel liberated, to feel free to be who they always wanted to be. That is my mission, and that's also how I overcame my fears. And that is the story that I wanted to share with you today. So if you are relating to fear number one, the fear of being alone, the fear of not being accepted, the fear of not having any friends, the fear of basically being by yourself, I would love it if you would share it with me by typing the number one into the comment section. And if you are by any chance a highly sensitive entrepreneur and you've also experienced um, the fear of people not wanting to interact with you, the fear of showing up alone and having nobody interested in your message, nobody liking what you're putting out there, if you can relate to that fear, then I would love it if you would share it with me by typing in the number 2 in the comment section. And if you are somebody that can relate to the third fear that I mentioned, the fear of losing everything, the fear of ending up with nothing, of losing everything that you worked for in your life, either because you choose to be who you are or you choose to do something completely different like I did with starting my company, and you can relate to that fear, I would also really love to connect with you. And it would be great if you could type in the number 3 in the comment section of this video. Also, if you are watching the replay and you can relate to these fears, I would still really love to hear from you. And I promise to answer each and every one of your questions when I see them personally. So this was my HSP TV broadcast about my greatest fear. And I hope that I got to inspire you. I hope that I gave you the feeling that you are not alone, that there are so many more people out there just like you. And I hope I got to inspire you even a little to embrace who you are and to start being proud of your sensitive nature. I am here every Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Amsterdam time, which currently is GMT +2. If you don't know what time it is in your time zone, find the time zone calculator. And I hope to see you again next week for next week's episode. I am live both on Facebook and on Instagram at the same time. You're welcome, Innerlijke Reis. I am so glad that you shared this with me and that I got to inspire you. I love connecting with people like you, like Noam, and like all the others that joined today. So I hope to see you again next week. Remember, if you have a question or a subject that you would like me to talk about, you can email me at info@2beinbalance.com. The info will also be below this video. And who knows, your question or your subject could be the subject of next week's broadcast. So thank you again for joining. Hi, Thomas. Thank you for joining, but I'm finishing up. So if you would like to see the rest of what I've shared today, please watch it in the rerun. Or if you have a question, quickly ask it to me before I leave, and I will do my best to answer it. But thank you for joining. Thank you for being here. And I hope to see all of you again next week for next week's episode. Bye.